के सीधा प्रसारण देख रहे
I welcome you to this ceremony where we shall witness some new initiatives in India-New Zealand bilateral cooperation. These are by way of exchange of agreements, letters of intent, memorandums of understanding, memorandums of cooperation, followed by press statement by our two leaders. First, we shall witness the exchange of memorandum of cooperation in the field of sports between the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports, Government of India, and the Sports New Zealand of Government of New Zealand. This will be exchanged on the New Zealand side by Honourable Mark Michel, Minister for Ethnic Communities and Minister of Sports and Recreation, New Zealand, and Dr. S. Jaishankar, External Affairs Minister. Thank you, Ministers. We next have the exchange of memorandum on cooperation on horticulture between the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare of India and the Ministry of Primary Industries of New Zealand. This will be exchanged on the New Zealand side by Honourable Todd McClay, Minister for Trade and Investment and Minister for Agriculture and Forestry, and on the Indian side by Shri Piyush Goyal, Minister for Commerce and Industry. Thank you, Ministers. I would request Minister McClay to continue. We next have the exchange of letter of intent on forestry between the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change of India and the Ministry of Primary Industries of New Zealand. This will be exchanged on the New Zealand side by Minister McClay and on the Indian side by Professor S.P. Baghel, Minister of Steel in Ministry of Forestry, Fisheries, Animal Husbandry and Dairying and Ministry of Panchayati Raj. Thank you, Ministers. We next have the exchange of Memorandum of Understanding on Defence Cooperation between Ministry of Defence, Government of Republic of India and New Zealand Ministry of Defence, New Zealand Defence Force. This will be exchanged on the New Zealand side by Rear Admiral Garen Golding, Chief of Navy, and on the Indian side by Shri Rajesh Kumar Singh, Defence Secretary. Thank you, sir. We next have the exchange of authorized economic operator mutual recognition agreement between the Central Board of Indirect Taxes and Customs of India and the New Zealand Customs Service. This will be exchanged on the New Zealand side by Ms. Christine Stevenson, Comptroller of New Zealand Customs Service, and on the Indian side by Shri Vikram Misri, Foreign Secretary. Last but not least, we have the exchange of education cooperation agreement between the Ministry of Education of Republic of India and the Ministry of Education of New Zealand. This will be exchanged on the New Zealand side by His Excellency Patrick Rata, High Commissioner of New Zealand to India, and on the Indian side by Shri Jaideep Majumdar, Secretary East, Ministry of External Affairs. Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the exchange ceremony. I now request spokesperson of Ministry of External Affairs to conduct the remainder of the proceedings.
Namaskar, good afternoon. The Right Honourable Christopher Luxon, Prime Minister of New Zealand, Honourable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, Honourable Ministers and members of both delegations, distinguished guests and friends from the media. We will now have the press statements. May I request Honourable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, to give his remarks to the media.
Your Excellency,
प्रधानमंत्री लक्षण, दोनों देशों के डेलीगेट्स, मीडिया के सभी साथी, नमस्कार। किया हो रहा। मैं प्रधानमंत्री लक्षण और उनके प्रतिनिधिमंडल का भारत में हार्दिक स्वागत करता हूं। प्रधानमंत्री लक्षण भारत से लंबे समय से जुड़े हुए हैं। कुछ दिन पहले ऑकलैंड में होली के रंगों में रंगकर उन्होंने जिस तरह उत्सव का माहौल बनाया वह हम सब ने देखा। प्रधानमंत्री लक्षण के न्यूजीलैंड में बसने वाले भारतीय मूल के लोगों के प्रति लगाव को इस बात से भी देखा जा सकता है कि उनके साथ एक बड़ा कम्युनिटी डेलीगेशन भी भारत आया है। उन जैसे युवा, ऊर्जावान और प्रतिभाशाली लीडर का इस वर्ष रायसीना डायलॉग का मुख्य अतिथि होना हमारे लिए खुशी की बात है। फ्रेंड्स, आज हमने अपने द्विपक्षीय संबंधों के विभिन्न पहलुओं पर विस्तृत चर्चा की। हमने अपनी रक्षा और सुरक्षा साझेदारी को मजबूत और संस्थागत रूप देने का निर्णय लिया है। जॉइंट एक्सरसाइज, ट्रेनिंग, पोर्ट विजिट्स के साथ साथ रक्षा उद्योग जगत में भी आपसी सहयोग के लिए रोड मैप बनाया जाएगा। हिंद महासागर में मैरीटाइम सिक्योरिटी के लिए कंबाइंड टास्क फोर्स 150 में हमारी नौसेनाएं मिलकर काम कर रही है और हमें प्रसन्नता है कि न्यूजीलैंड की नौसेना का जहाज 2 दिन में मुंबई में पोर्ट कॉल कर रहा है। फ्रेंड्स, दोनों देशों के बीच एक परस्पर लाभकारी फ्री ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट पर नेगोशिएशंस शुरू करने का निर्णय लिया गया है। इससे आपसी व्यापार और निवेश के पोटेंशियल को बढ़ावा मिलेगा। डेयरी, फूड प्रोसेसिंग और फार्मा जैसे क्षेत्रों में आपसी सहयोग और निवेश को प्रोत्साहित किया जाएगा। रिन्यूएबल एनर्जी और क्रिटिकल मिनरल क्षेत्रों में आपसी सहयोग को हमने प्राथमिकता दी है। फॉरेस्ट्री और हॉर्टिकल्चर में संयुक्त रूप से काम किया जाएगा। मुझे विश्वास है कि प्रधानमंत्री के साथ आए बड़े बिजनेस डेलीगेशन को भारत में नई संभावनाओं को देखने और समझने का अवसर मिलेगा। फ्रेंड्स, क्रिकेट हो, हॉकी या माउंटेनियरिंग, दोनों देशों के बीच खेलों में पुराने संबंध हैं। हमने स्पोर्ट्स में कोचिंग और खिलाड़ियों के एक्सचेंज के साथ साथ स्पोर्ट्स साइंस, साइकोलॉजी और मेडिसिन में भी सहयोग पर बल दिया है। और वर्ष 2026 में दोनों देशों के बीच खेल संबंधों के 100 साल मनाने का निर्णय लिया गया है। फ्रेंड्स, न्यूजीलैंड में रहने वाला भारतीय समुदाय न्यूजीलैंड में सामाजिक और आर्थिक विकास में सकारात्मक योगदान दे रहा है। हमने तय किया है कि स्किल्ड वर्कर्स की मोबिलिटी उसको सरल बनाने और इलीगल माइग्रेशन से निपटने के लिए एक समझौते पर तेजी से काम किया जाएगा। यूपीआई कनेक्टिविटी, डिजिटल ट्रांजैक्शन और टूरिज्म बढ़ाने पर भी बल दिया जाएगा। शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में हमारे पुराने संबंध हैं। हम न्यूजीलैंड की यूनिवर्सिटीज को भारत में कैंपस खोलने के लिए आमंत्रित करते हैं। फ्रेंड्स, आतंकवाद के खिलाफ हम दोनों एक मत हैं। चाहे 15 मार्च 2019 का क्राइस्ट चर्च आतंकी हमला हो या 26 नवंबर 2008 का मुंबई हमला, आतंकवाद किसी भी रूप में अस्वीकार्य है। आतंकी हमलों के दोषियों के खिलाफ कड़ी कार्रवाई आवश्यक है। आतंकवादी, अलगाववादी और कट्टरपंथी तत्वों के खिलाफ हम मिलकर सहयोग करते रहेंगे। इस संदर्भ में न्यूजीलैंड में कुछ गैर कानूनी तत्वों द्वारा भारत विरोधी गतिविधियों को लेकर हमने अपनी चिंता साझा की। हमें विश्वास है कि इन सभी गैर कानूनी तत्वों के खिलाफ हमें न्यूजीलैंड सरकार का सहयोग आगे भी मिलता रहेगा। फ्रेंड्स, फ्री, ओपन, सिक्योर और प्रॉस्परस इंडो पैसिफिक का हम दोनों समर्थन करते हैं। हम विकासवाद की नीति में विश्वास रखते हैं, विस्तारवाद में नहीं। इंडो पैसिफिक ओशन इनिशिएटिव से जुड़ने के लिए हम न्यूजीलैंड का स्वागत करते हैं। इंटरनेशनल सोलर अलायंस के बाद CDRI से जुड़ने के लिए भी हम न्यूजीलैंड का अभिनंदन करते हैं। फ्रेंड्स, अंत में रग्बी की भाषा में कहूं तो हम दोनों अपने संबंधों के उज्जवल भविष्य के लिए फ्रंट अप के लिए तैयार हैं। We are ready to step up together and take responsibility for a bright partnership. और मुझे विश्वास है कि हमारी साझेदारी दोनों देशों के लोगों के लिए एक मैच विनिंग पार्टनरशिप साबित होगी। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Well said, well said. Thank you, sir. May I now request the Right Honourable Christopher Luxon, Prime Minister of New Zealand, to give his remarks to the media.
Well, namaste and kia ora, everybody. Can I just thank up front Prime Minister Modi for the very warm and generous welcome that we've had, myself and also our delegation. Today we have just concluded a series, I think, of very highly productive meetings, and we also witnessed, as you have seen, a number of government-to-government arrangements that will strengthen the growing ties between India and New Zealand. Prime Minister Modi and I have also issued a joint statement that I think captures the wide range of topics that we have discussed, the arrangements that we have finalised, and the areas of cooperation that we are determined to pursue into the future. I hope that our meeting has left Prime Minister Modi in no doubt about the profound depth of New Zealand's commitment to building a deep, broad-based and enduring relationship with the great nation of India. By broad-based, I mean that New Zealand is committed to doing more with India across a wide range of areas: defence and security, trade and economics, people-to-people ties, education, tourism, sports and culture. Our two-way trade today stands at around 3 billion New Zealand dollars a year, but there is huge potential to grow, and it is in that context that I want to say thank you, and I'm pleased to welcome the efforts of Minister Goyal and Minister Macleay on their agreement announced yesterday between New Zealand and India that we will launch immediately comprehensive free trade agreement negotiations, making sure that we work towards a balanced, ambitious and comprehensive agreement. The negotiations will expand opportunities for both our countries and our peoples, and we look forward to reaching a mutually beneficial agreement. On defence and security, Prime Minister Modi and I discussed the challenging strategic outlook in the Indo-Pacific region, and I reiterated New Zealand's strong commitment to working with India to address shared concerns over our respective interests and contributions to ensure a strong and stable and prosperous region. And that's a theme that I plan to pick up in my speech at the Raisina Dialogue this evening. And again, I feel incredibly privileged for the honour to be able to make that opening keynote address at this major international conference. The Prime Minister and I, as he alluded to, also discussed a number of practical areas where New Zealand and India are deepening our defence and our security cooperation. For example, in maritime security, the Royal New Zealand Navy currently leads the Combined Task Force 150, coordinating multinational efforts to protect trade routes and counter smuggling, piracy and terrorism in the Indian Ocean and the Gulf of Aden. We are working closely with India on this mission, and later this week the RNZ frigate Tikaha will arrive in Mumbai. I was also pleased to witness the agreement of the new bilateral defence cooperation arrangement with India that reflects our ambition to enhance defence cooperation and adds an important new dimension to our strategic engagement. The Prime Minister and I have also announced that New Zealand will become a member of the Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative. This initiative promises to drive deeper engagement between India and its regional partners. And the Prime Minister and I also discussed the deep links between our peoples. The depth and importance of these links, I think, are reflected in the delegation of proud Kiwi Indians that I have brought with me on this mission. They represent a community with achievements in every facet of life in New Zealand, from business to law, education, the media and sports. And of course, as the Prime Minister alluded to, sports is a shared passion between our two countries and our peoples. And it was definitely my pleasure just to witness the Sports Memorandum of Cooperation between New Zealand and India. That arrangement allows us to develop new ways to collaborate across high-performance sports, the exchange of programs and skills and technology and innovation, research and people. And in 2026, we will mark 100 years of sporting ties between our two countries, and it's entirely appropriate that we celebrate this milestone, including a visit by the Indian men's cricket team in November 2026. I have brought with me cricket greats Ross Taylor and Ajaz Patel, and that has been a way for us to celebrate and deepen the links between our two cricket-mad nations. And I do want to say to the Prime Minister, I really have appreciated him not raising the recent loss of New Zealand to India in the recent game that we played in Dubai. And I haven't mentioned any of the Test series wins that we had on our recent trip to India either. So let's just keep it that way and we'll avoid a major diplomatic incident. The Prime Minister and I, as you know, have also witnessed an exchange of a number of arrangements that are going to deepen the economic, the cultural, the scientific and the people-to-people links between our countries. There's a mutual recognition agreement on customs, which you've just seen, a refresh of our cooperation agreement between our education ministries that identifies where New Zealand can actually help support the development of India's education sector, a letter of intent to cooperate more fully on forestry trade, and also a memorandum of cooperation on horticulture. And so to give effect to the various areas of new cooperation, my government has also confirmed that we will need more people on the ground in India. And that is why New Zealand is looking to increase our diplomatic footprint in India by more than 60%, underscoring our commitment to the relationship and our ambition to see it grow even further. And it is also my great pleasure to be able to announce Dr. Samir Saran, President of the Overseas Research Foundation and an organiser of the Rasina Dialogue with Dr. Jay Shankar, to be the next Prime Minister's Fellow from India. And I look forward to welcoming Dr. Saran to New Zealand and building even stronger engagement between New Zealand and India on critical issues facing the Indo-Pacific. So finally, can I just say again, thank you, Prime Minister Modi, for hosting me and my delegation so generously and with so much hospitality. We do look forward to broadening and deepening the relationship between our two great countries. And I also, of course, offered to reciprocate Prime Minister Modi's warm and generous hospitality by inviting him to New Zealand whenever his schedule makes that work. Namaste, and as we say in New Zealand, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa. Kia ora.
Thank you, sir. That concludes the press statement.